A crackdown on free speech. Just one of the reactions to the news that Russian tech tycoon Pavel Durov has reportedly been detained by French police. The Telegram founder is accused of not giving security services access to private information on the Messenger platform. Investigators are allegedly accusing him of complicity in drug trafficking, fraud, and crimes against children. RT's Charlotte Dubinsky told me more.
This is all reports from French TV stations who say that they've got sources close to the investigation. His plane, Pavel Durov's plane, arrived in Paris on Saturday evening, and he had just reached the tarmac, getting off the plane, when apparently he was detained by the French authorities. Now, according to one source close to the investigation, the reason they had released this warrant for him, an arrest for him on French soil, is because Telegram is seen as being the go-to app for criminal activities, organised crime for the last few years. Now, you mentioned there some of the crimes that he could be facing charges over. This is money laundering, fraud, this is drug trafficking, crimes against children. These are incredibly serious crimes. It's expected that he's going to go before a judge on Sunday in France and is unlikely to be released from pre-trial detention because of obviously the fact who he is, the funds he has, his ability to leave the country and perhaps avoid justice. They are expecting that he will be remanded in custody until any trial, and that could be many, many months away. The suggestion, if he's found guilty, he could spend up to 20 years in prison. Now, the Russian embassy in Paris has said that it is looking for clarity on this situation. Durov, of course, is a Russian citizen. He also has joint nationality, and he's a French citizen too.
We're dealing with the situation, Charlotte, that it's happening in France, a country which promotes itself as a beacon of democracy in a dark world, all that kind of thing. Freedom of speech is paramount. Yet he's being treated in such a high-profile way as a criminal, like directly as if he's accused of doing these things himself, but he's not.
Yeah, let's be clear. He's not being accused of actually carrying out any of these activities. The basis of this warrant is that because Telegram is seen as not moderating enough of its app, not providing information to governments in the West, that he is essentially complicit in these crimes simply for being the owner and co-founder of Telegram. It's a pretty incredible situation. Now, we know that he has been coming under massive pressure from Western governments to share information. Telegraph, which is one of the most popular and most downloaded apps in the world with close to 1 billion users, thrives on this idea that it's got end-to-end encryption, that it's safe to send messages on, and Telegram's website says it does not pass information to governments. All of these are the big tick points when people are using to look at the app. So he's talked about the pressure he's been coming under, and recently he sat down with US host Tucker Carlson and talked specifically about what the US authorities have been doing and how they've been trying to persuade him to pass on information. Let's just have a listen to what he said in that interview.
We get too much attention from the FBI, the security agencies, wherever we came to the US. I brought an engineer that is working for Telegram, and there was an attempt to secretly hire my engineer behind my back by cybersecurity officers. The events of January the 6th, we received a letter from, I believe, congressmen of the Democratic side, and they requested that we would share all the data we had in relation to what they called this uprising. The letter seemed very serious, and the letter said, if you fail to comply with this request, you will be in violation with the US Constitution.
Now, Tucker Carlson reacted very quickly to the reports of Pavel Durov's arrest, saying that he's been locked away enthusiastically by a member of NATO, that this is the West that has locked him up because he's refusing to censor the truth. And I think that's really interesting, is that what we've got here is a Western government putting out a warrant for this big tech mogul and essentially putting him behind bars before he's even been able to have his day in court. Now, there's been lots of other reaction as well, Ewan, coming from influential Americans, all concerned by the developments in this case.
France just arrested Pavel Durov, founder and CEO of the encrypted, uncensored Telegram platform. The need to protect free speech has never been more urgent.
POV. It's 2030 in Europe, and you're being executed for liking a meme.
It's Telegram today. It'll be X tomorrow.
Free speech is under attack all over the world. Why are people's opinions and voices such a threat? Courageously resolve differences freely in the public square.
Well, of course, we know that Durov has actually worked with governments in the West to acquiesce to their demands. He acquiesced to the demands of the EU to ban RT from Telegram. If you have a EU-based number, you cannot get access to our news services via that app. And it's interesting that now he is in France, in the EU, where he could find himself behind the bars.
Pavel Durov also had an issue with authorities here in Russia. Remind us, Charlotte, how that turned out and what Moscow has had to say on these latest developments.
Yes, this is going back to 2018, where Telegram was banned here in Russia, and that's because it was refusing to hand over information and essentially in breach of Russian laws. Now, that ban was lifted when Telegram and the Russian authorities came to a deal, and that deal is that Telegram would pass information to the FSB on request if it was related to extremist investigations. So Telegram widely used still here in Russia. But at the time, we had NGOs from the West all calling foul, saying, oh, here we are again, Russia trying to clamp down on freedom of speech. This isn't OK. We're not happy about this. And interestingly, the Russian Foreign Ministry spokesperson has said, well, she wonders if there'll be the same NGOs calling for his freedom and calling for his liberty right now.
I just remembered how in 2018 a group of 26 NGOs condemned the Russian court's decision to block Telegram. Telegram had legal issues that many countries had in connection with the technical parameters of the encryption system. These Western NGOs called on the Russian authorities to stop creating obstacles to Telegram's work. They appealed to the UN, the Council of Europe, the OSCE, the European Union, the United States and other governments to resist Russia's actions, protect the fundamental rights of freedom of expression and privacy. At the same time, Durov remained at large all this time, continuing to develop Telegram. Do you think these NGOs will appeal to Paris this time and demand Durov's release, or will they swallow their tongues?
Well, the question is now, where could this lead? Could this open the floodgates to other actions? We know that there was a suggestion in the UK just a few weeks ago that Elon Musk could be arrested for some of the tweets he made during the riots we saw in the UK. And is this a question about freedom of speech, or is this about where the power in today's society lies and the fact that Western governments are concerned that perhaps they're losing it?